Some brands are legendary. In every category, someone sets the standard, and some companies create raving fans. Join Scott Wozniak and Caitlin Johnson of Swaz Consulting as we dig into the tactics and tools behind great organizations. How did the legends do it? And how can you become a legendary brand too? Caitlin, welcome back. Looking forward to diving in here.
Love it, Scott. What are we talking about today?
All right. So, we love to talk about building great organizations, legendary brands, and in customer experience, we've got this engine. And one of the gears in the engine, one of the things you provide that creates raving fans is personalized service. And one of the ways to create this kind of personal connection and customized moments and all this stuff and kind of make it feel special and connect to them is using what we call elevated language. And so I thought, what if we riff today on the ways we've seen some of the great brands, how they talk differently? Because as you know, right, words matter.
Oh my gosh, yes.
All of us, myself included, don't want to acknowledge logically that the words you use make that big of a difference. We're like, no. I mean, like whatever you call, I get the message. You can't influence me with your wording, right?
Right, wordsmithing, right?
Yeah, dang it. It works. We're human, and it just works. And this has been like tested by social scientists again and again and again. Well, the majority of us will say, "Oh, what the words you give me don't matter," and then they put you in a scenario and they slant it with these words or that words, and then our behavior changes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because it can backfire too. Like, think about how many times we move so quickly as leaders. And if we don't take the time to find the right words to say things, it can have a completely different meaning or a nuance or unintended consequence if we don't think through how we're saying things.
Epic differences. I mean, honestly, I want to be careful here, but if you want to get into politics, which this is not an episode on politics, right?
Well, let's not go there.
Relax. But I will say there are political wars fought over what to title a thing, right? Is it an estate tax where we tax the leftover estate of your family's wealth, or is it a death tax where you're on death? Like,
yeah. One and the same
actual law. And by the way, the actual name of the law is neither of those. And each party is like throwing down, trying to decide, what do we call this thing? Because what you call it tips a significant percentage of the population on how they respond to it. Okay. And okay, let's get back out of politics. Like, catch your breath. We're done. That's all the politics for today. This shows up in business. And what we say is if you want to create a personal connection and a special feeling, then you got to talk differently than the industry standard terms. Don't talk like the rest of your competitors. It matters. Even if you think it doesn't, it matters. In fact, one of the ways to know if you've got a strong, rich culture, like a really cool culture feeling, is how much jargon, lingo, and unique terminology you have.
Isn't that fascinating to think if you have a glossary of unique words?
Yes.
And they're used. That's the key point, right? They're used.
Well, yeah, you can write them. But, I got a lot of military in my family, both my grandparents, uncles, cousins. My brother was military, right? And man, I don't know if anyone listening, if it's you know these folks. You've hung out with them. It's a different language, right?
Oh, acronym city. Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any recent folks in my family in the military, but I do work with the military. And I sometimes have to call my point of contact on the side outside of our team calls. And like, you need to just give me the definition of a lot of what was said.
Yeah. Like,
I'm not following.
I don't know these words, right? You sure we're still speaking English, right?
Right.
Yes, it's real. And so, man, military has got culture strong. You want to talk about excellence and leadership.
Oh gosh, yes.
Okay, but it's not just military. I mean, I'll give you one of my favorite examples is Disney's theme parks. I'm
thinking about it right now.
I'm less, don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but man, Disney, the conglomerate, is kind of a hot mess right now. But dang it, their theme parks are phenomenal. And one of the reasons why is this language feeling. And it's funny. They talk about us as guests. That's not super unique. It's how they talk to their staff. Caitlin, you and I both Disney nerds from Florida, right? So we've talked about this. So I'll have you answer. Like, what do they call their employees at the theme parks?
So when you asked me that question, first of all of a sudden my whole composure just stood up a little taller because they're cast members, Scott.
Yes, that's right. That's right. They don't have a job. They're cast members in the greatest show on earth, right? It's this
Absolutely.
creating magic, and it's not just that. Like they don't go for hiring, interviews. They go to audition for a role.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't
Right.
have a uniform, they have a costume. And I don't just mean
Mm-hmm.
like, the princesses. I mean like the guy working the register, the gal who pushes the button on the ride.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a uniform. That's a costume. They have
Mm-hmm.
onstage area and backstage areas.
Yes, that's right. I forgot about that terminology.
It's this whole ecosystem that says we are here to put on a show for our guests.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I mean, come on, they're employees. They get paid $15 an hour. It's like, it's just, it doesn't matter whether the guy's still working a register in a fast food joint, right? Like it's that.
But you carry yourself differently, even again, and that's why I explained because it was interesting. You and I, we have these ideas of elevated language that we are coming prepared to talk about to our listeners today. But when you asked me that question, it was shocking to me when I realized my body language changed as I was going to say cast.
Yeah, I
So
visibly
it,
saw it. It's
yes.
real.
So when we talk about words matter, the feeling associated with those words and being able to carry it through in all elements of a company's culture is what we're talking about with this elevated language.
Yeah, it's real. Okay, so Disney does that for their employees,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of brands that do it for their customers. In fact, one of the first that comes to my mind, because at Chick-fil-A, we straight stole all of our fancy elevated language from the Ritz-Carlton properties,
Good old Ritz-Carlton.
which
Mm-hmm.
you worked with. I mean,
I've worked for,
so
yes.
I'll let you rip on the Ritz. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course we call our customers guests. So like you said, that's not unusual. But it goes back to internally how their words matter. So Ritz Carlton in particular, their team members or associates or employees are ladies and gentlemen.
Mm.
So ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen.
It's so elegant. I mean, this
Yes.
doesn't get better than the Ritz in this regard.
Yes.
So good.
Mm-hmm. And so my pleasure, that's,
Oh,
Chick-fil-A stole that.
literally, our founder went to Ritz and was like, "Oh, that's nice and that's free. We're doing that, everybody. We're saying my
I love the
pleasure."
Southern accent. That's great.
That's my Truett impersonation. He's a good old Georgia boy, genius with a
Mm-hmm.
Southern accent. Man, love that guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but there's other brands within Marriott that do this too. So maybe our listeners know, but I worked for Marriott International for 15 years. And so I think they're up to 36 plus brands within their portfolio. And
Yeah.
every brand has a unique culture and a unique language. So if you've ever gone to a Renaissance within the Marriott portfolio, their employees, I don't know if they still call them this, but at one point they called their employees discoverers
Ooh.
because just the whole environment of each Renaissance had a unique vibe and different experience for our guests. And so they were discoverers. Gaylord, we've got a couple huge Gaylord properties.
Those are amazing
And
properties. Yeah.
oh, they're little cities. They're crazy.
Yes. Yes.
And so they would call the employees stars.
Mm.
And as soon as you put on your uniform and your name tag and you went out to the front of the house, you were on stage. So everything you were doing when you were interacting with our guests was very mindful of being on stage and carrying yourself in that particular way.
Yeah, and so you can do this, employees. I think it also helps the people you serve as well. So a lot of these guys go guests, which by the way, that used to be a special thing. It was always just,
It's true.
customers, but now everyone copies that. I'll give you one that in maybe an unlikely scenario. It's not Ritz, what most people think of, but a nursing home. We worked with a nursing home company based in Texas, scattered throughout the South, and lots of locations. And the standard in there is like, hey, you've got patients or residents, the men and women that live there, and then the staff. The entry level role is a CNA. You want to talk about acronyms? Healthcare is another.
Yes.
I got a couple. So a CNA is a certified nursing assistant. It's an entry level position. They do the basic care, pass out pills, chair transfers, wipe bottoms if needed. Right.
All the things.
Pretty basic, fundamental human care services. Great. So that's normal. CNAs taking care of residents, patients. This firm said, no, no, no. They're not patients. These are our family members.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, our CNAs, I mean, they still have to be a CNA. You still have to get your certification, but we call them caregivers. And so our caregivers who care for our family members. And it's like, hey, now listen, it's the same old dude who's still, he's the cranky old guy in the corner and you still got to worry about Mr. Johnson. Like,
he's still the patient. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. But man, no, he's now our family member and we care for our family members. And same physical tasks, and it just feels different. This stuff matters. And so okay, you don't just try to get fancy though. Let's get tactical with you guys on this. So some fun ideas. What you really want to say is, who are we? What kind of feeling do we want to create? What fits our brand, our culture? What kind of customer experience do we want? And then what language would create that?
That's a really great point.
It's all about magic and wonder, right? Ritz is I'm special and elegant. And so then nail that, right? But man, I'll give you another example. There's an enterprise software firm, a Silicon Valley tech nerds that I love these guys. And they're all Jedi nerds, like hardcore Star Wars fans. And so they just Star Wars themed everything. The way they partner, the way their roles. I mean, not just like, yes, the meeting rooms are like Tatooine and Hoth, but no, I'm talking an entry level position is, an entry level developer is a Padawan learner. And so like,
I love it.
The executive team is the Jedi Council. And so
do they meet in a circle?
No, that's a normal room. They just have a
missed opportunity.
I know they need to sit in those little round chairs, right? And then have a big circular. Okay, sorry, I'm Star Wars nerding out here. So here's what things. Here's how you know if you've done it right. It's actually a little bit off-putting to some people who want to apply, because it's like we're talking on the job description. Like they'll post a job description and it'll be like Padawan learner, and then like has to know this coding language and this level of experience, and you're like, Padawan, what's that about, right? Reports to a Jedi master, and the Jedi master reports to the council, and you're like, and if this is off-putting to you, it's working. I mean, this is exactly what they want. They're like, dude, this is who we are. And oh, by the way, they share this with their customers because they're business to business. And it connects really well with some folks. And it doesn't connect with some folks. And they're like, success. The goal is to make it more likely that we connect with people who get us, get our values, want to work like we are, and hang out with us the way we want to hang out. And if you don't want to work in that environment, we don't even want to bother interviewing you. Like,
This reminds me of our conversation we had recently about saying no to interviewees and creating job descriptions that in some cases even scare and intimidate people from applying.
So your language, it's not like pick one cool term for one cool thing. Like, who are we? And then how can we integrate the way we talk so that it shows up differently in all of our stuff?
I like that flow. So if I was to repeat back what I just heard to you, because we're not talking about like just come up with some crazy words that you're like, this is who we are now. Like the words need to match with your culture and your values and have it be congruent and expand. The idea of elevated language is to take what you currently have and just make it 1%, 2%, 100%, better.
Yeah. Totally. What you're trying to do is design a customer experience that feels like you, like it's special, like, man, this is a special place, special environment, special people. And then with your language and everything else, you're inviting them into this reality. We're riffing on this, getting ready for this, but it's what I think is the difference between Disney World theme parks and most of all the other theme parks. In fact, what we were saying is that Universal is fine, like, oh, somebody else is finally doing it. Everyone else keeps designing really cool coasters or individual rides. And honestly, other people can design similar quality rides. Disney has been the only one until recently doing is creating an environment, a world that you feel like you walk into a story and now you're living as a character in their story. That's what we're trying to do, guys. When you really zoom out, we're trying to create our own theme park-like immersion with your customer experience. Man, I think of me as a customer, right? I'm talking, man, I go hang out with that Caitlin and the Swaz guys, and that the way they talk to me is differently, and the way I feel about, and the way they talk to each other. And like, I just feel like all these tiny little signals that say, you're in a different reality now. And oh, by the way, in this reality, you're someone special. You matter, you can do whatever the feeling that your company's trying to create. All the language just matches it. And on the surface, intellectually, everybody will know that a family member is still a patient, right? That a cast member still is working in fast food. But that emotional nudge is more powerful than you realize. If you want to create a strong experience, you have to have different language. And if
different language creates raving fans.
It's just, and best part of this, guys, this one is totally free. Like my joke aside, the guy was brilliant, right? It's totally free. You just have to pick the language that you want. I'll give you one more real non-sexy, non-consumer example. We're working with a national roofing company, and they partner with contractors all over the place, the subcontractors, the roofers, right? They source jobs from giant clients, and they're kind of the clearinghouse for roofing jobs all over the country. And they've decided to stop calling their contractors. They're calling them partners.
Ooh.
It's still the same process. A company contacts me, I contract a local contractor. It's the same. He may even call himself a contractor, but no, when you work with us, you're our partner.
Do you feel the ownership behind that word that comes with that word?
Yes, the alignment, the respect it communicates, right? Hey, this is us together. We need each other. We're going to do this. Everything. And then you're like, it doesn't matter. Now, I always say this: if you call them partners and then treat them like,
I was going to bring this up. Yes, it's got to match the value.
Unwanted outsiders, then you're going to be a problem.
You did it wrong. Yeah.
But if you actually trying to, which they are and have been for a while, like, hey, we really are trying. They had a whole team that's dedicated to how do we make them feel connected and hear their voice. Oh, wow. Like, great, you're doing all this great work, and you still call them what everyone else calls them. And they don't, and a lot of these guys, it's the way the relationship with them is they don't work exclusively with this one roofing company. They can take jobs from anybody, right?
The nature of a contractor, yes.
Bingo. But over here, these guys call me partners. And it's just different. Like, just like you, like I'm going to sit a little taller when I get calls from that company, because that's my partner. Guys, what do you want to create? What kind of relationship do you want to have? What do you want to immerse them in? And if you are talking like everyone else, you are leaving on the table maybe one of the most powerful and most cost-effective options there is. Just change the way you talk, elevate your language. If you enjoyed this episode, you might want to sign up for our weekly newsletter. It's all new content with the same themes. You can subscribe for free and learn more about how we partner with our clients to build legendary companies at swazconsulting.com. That's www.swozconsulting.com. And if you want to get access to the actual tools and techniques that we use with our elite consulting clients, check out our online program at legendarybrandsacademy.com. That's www.legendarybrandsacademy.com. Greatness is possible. You just have to build the right engine.